I was recently asked to share some of my startup lessons with Hera Hub. And just a tiny bit of background, I started the company in 2011. It's a shared workspace for female entrepreneurs and a few amazing men who want to come along for the journey. It's a spa-inspired place. It's beautiful, beautiful facility and community, and an opportunity for members to truly come together, support, collaborate, connect, build businesses, build dreams. So challenge number one was, before I even opened the doors, I came up with the idea of a workspace for women because I saw a need in the market. A lot of the co-working spaces at that time, and still to this day, tend to be fairly technology focused because that is the genre of work that allows for flexibility, frankly. And so they tend to be a little more leaning on the male gender side, and the facilities and the activities and things that happen there follow that. So an opportunity to support women. But I had no idea what I was doing getting into commercial real estate. I had purchased 2 homes in my career path, so I knew a little bit about, negotiation and, the real estate process, but had no idea what I was getting myself into on the commercial real estate side, an entirely different world. And what I didn't realize is just because you have an idea and a fancy business plan and really nice financial projections pretty much means nothing. Because in commercial real estate, that building owner, that landlord, if you will, is taking a risk in extending you a lease. They are probably going to do what's referred to as tenant improvements, meaning building out the space based on your specifications. And oftentimes that means they're going to be putting money into the deal. And if you have a new business, and for me, double whammy, a new concept altogether, which was in 2010 when I was shopping for commercial real estate, this concept of co-working was still fairly new. And so again and again and again, nobody wanted to take the risk, so to speak. And so I finally, third time's a charm, so I went through 2 failed lease negotiations that literally went to the 11th hour, 3 months in of work and negotiation and back and forth, only to have both those deals literally fall apart in the 11th hour. And so it was the 3rd time that I went to actually an entirely different part of town and got lucky, if you will, in that the building I was looking at had just been sold to a commercial real estate firm that had 2 partners that were under 50 years old. In other words, they had some foresight of what's happening in commercial real estate in this world of shared workspace. So after lots of back and forth and a few bumps in the road, was finally able to secure my first lease with a lot of money down. But I finally made it happen. The second biggest lesson learned in my entrepreneurial path was around franchising and licensing. So my prior business was a service-based business. I had a marketing strategy business, and the business, while I had contractors working on projects, the business was basically me, myself, and I. And I knew that in building Hera Hub, I wanted to build something bigger than myself. And I knew that meant that I needed to build a model and a system that could be duplicated and therefore scaled. So I went into building the first location thinking about systems and processes and operations, although that's my background's in marketing, that wasn't where my brain goes exactly. But I had the foresight to switch and think about it in those terms. And my first hire was an operations coordinator, the best decision I ever made to help me come in and take a step back from the business and document everything we were doing and push the envelope a bit. So comes the time where I build our second location and then our third location. I launched 3 locations in the first 2 years of the business. And and I learned a ton, as you can imagine. I like to say I built it and broke it and built it and broke it, again and again and again. All told, I spent about $100,000 in mistakes, if you will. Buying the wrong furniture, buying the wrong software, buying the wrong equipment, getting into deals that I shouldn't have gotten into. I've made a million mistakes in this business. And so really, in that opportunity to expand, a couple things came up. Number one, I'm not a good manager, and I don't want to be a manager. I'm an entrepreneur. I like to create things. And so I didn't want to go the company-owned model and expansion beyond San Diego, because that isn't really who I am in building an organization where I'm just managing a bunch of people. Even more so, I wanted to build a platform that would continue to spur entrepreneurship. So build a brand, a system, a model that then I could teach other people so they could run their own business, be their own boss, be an entrepreneur. So we start to go down this path, and I start to research licensing versus franchising. There's another expansion strategy that's referred to as business opportunity, but I'm going to not talk about that here because that's a whole nother animal. So licensing versus franchising. There's a lot of confusion about the differences. Effectively, they are quite similar, but the way that you operate deems you a de facto franchise if you do three things. If you extend your brand, if you provide assistance, either at the startup or ongoing, and assistance is really, really broad. And then the last one is you charge more than $500 within the first 6 months of operation of the business. So we wanted to do all three of those things. And so we decided, okay, we're going to go the franchise path. And we invest a lot of money in that whole process piece, which was needed, and a lot of money and with attorneys to build the documentation required. And I have to say, what I learned is franchising was not for us for a lot of reasons. Number one, nobody tells you how hard it's going to be coming in on an ongoing basis, on an annual basis. On a documentation system structure basis. It is so arduous. It really takes essentially a full-time person to manage it. And being a young company, we were frankly not ready for that. Also, the contracts that are required for a franchisor scared the heck out of everybody, and rightfully so. I mean, they were written in such a way that, because there's so many franchisors who have gotten sued over the years, and probably rightfully so, because they've done something wrong, and we want to protect the consumer, of course, but the contracts are written in such legalese that no one can understand them, and so they go running the other direction. So it was all of these things that just continued to add up that I didn't know about when I first subscribed to this model. And the people that were showing up to extend the Hera Hub brand were amazing, and are amazing women who are accomplished, who have had significant careers and a lot to offer the community, and they wanted more flexibility. They wanted the opportunity to use the brand and the system and the structure and the model, but add their own flavor to it. And franchising really doesn't necessarily allow for that. So we pivoted to a licensing model because we want to give women that opportunity to build their own business, but to do it in a more flexible way. As long as the brand integrity is there, the brand experience is there, and they're communicating with us, that's all we ask. We want to give them that base and that opportunity to serve their community in the way the community is needing the support and the resources. So that was my biggest lesson. Number two, there have been many, many, many others along the way, but those are the two that really were the linchpins in my business from startup to growth.